Okay, so it's starting the live. Hi everyone, I'm Gloria Hester, the founder of Yogic Wisdom for Horse and Human, and I'm here today with Phyllis.
Hey.
And her horse, one of her horses is just right in front of my phone right now. So we just finished in a somatic lesson with Phyllis's horse, Cece. And so we're just out in the pasture there grazing. Phyllis was gracious enough to share a little bit about the work today and what she learned and her takeaways. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I see that some of you guys are joining. Thank you for joining. So Phyllis, do you want to share the main thing that you learned today? Or that...
It is just, all I can say, the main thing is it's amazing.
Oh.
It is amazing. It's small, minuscule touches in the right way with the right movement could affect so much change. I've seen Cece release through yawning and stretching and turning and his back raising. I mean, it sounds like I'm making it up, but I stood right here and watched it. It's amazing. And I had shared with Gloria, you know, I can't believe that a creator, which I believe is God, but that would create an animal or a person or anything to not be perfect. And the somatic works with the body to heal itself and to make itself well. I mean, it's just
it sets
crazy.
The nervous system up to be able to self-correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to participate with Gloria and tell her that yes, I just think it's wonderful. It's amazing is the word. And Cece even graciously thanked her at the end. I've never seen him do that with anyone. He loved her face in a certain methodical way, in a certain direction.
Cece's awesome.
He participated. He moved his tail. I mean, he knew what she was what she was asking, and it's just nothing short of amazing. And I'm glad to share with y'all. So.
Oh, thank you for sharing, Phyllis. Hi, Jim. Thank you for joining. Jim has a great equine rescue center in Aiken, South Carolina.
Jim.
Nice to have you with us today, Jim. We just finished working with Phyllis's horse, Cece, and Phyllis was just sharing about that the movements are so subtle, and she thought, how could that make a difference? And the reason for that is because we're working with the sensory system and helping to get the sensory system awake again, so that is going to inform the motor system. And so this is a sensory motor re-education for the horse. And so before we started our session with Cece today, the Arabian, we did a little bit of floor work with Phyllis. So if you're comfortable sharing about that.
We did subtle little movements, and I couldn't relax part of my chest. I know that sounds really strange, but but I've had
pectoral muscles.
I've had surgery in the past for breast cancer and just different things, and I was just amazed at the difference in myself. And then at the very end, she asked me to stand up and asked me how I felt. It felt like I was solid, like I had steel post or something in my legs all the way to the ground. I cannot explain it. I've never felt that way in my whole life. I've never experienced that. And the only thing I can say is it's something with the nervous system, and it re-educates the brain to help you move like you're supposed to. I mean, maybe I moved like this as a child, but I certainly don't remember. But I would just appreciate Gloria coming and working with me as well. It was amazing. And we did that first, so then we came out to work with the horse, so I could sort of understand, but it helped to have that done to me, so I could
so you had
understand
your own experience.
How it felt. And it was just subtle little things. It wasn't drastic stretches or anything. No. And the brain took over with the nervous system, and that's what's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. The way the work is designed, it really is about just enough to help inform the brain. The body can inform the brain, and the brain can inform the body, and that's what we mean when we talk about the sensory system and the motor system. The brain is responsible for creating and generating functional motor plans. It's good motor plans. And so if, let's see, I know when Phyllis said when she stood up and you said, I feel like my feet are going through the floor, and strong, and
just
very
so
strong. And that's just people's birthright to feel strong and grounded. So a lot of people would use the word grounded, and I think you just said I feel strong.
Yes,
Yeah. So so let's see. You want to share about what you noticed with your back when we
my back got very soft, and it felt like it was going down through the floor. It was just amazing. It was just relaxed, and I mean, I still feel great. I must have been really tight, a lot of stress. And I asked Gloria, if, what causes this? Is it stress? And she said yes. And I don't know anybody in this day and age, or maybe even beyond, back beyond, in times that wouldn't have been stressed, with different things that we have in our lives. And it just made a big difference to have that shown to me through the simple exercises. And I had no idea that the nervous system worked quite like that. So it transfers from the cerebellum to the prefrontal cortex.
That's right.
I mean, it's just
She's a good student. Just learning. She's a good student. Yeah.
You could probably really explain that a lot more, but it's amazing how our bodies work, and they're designed to work, and how that, I guess, if we'll step out of our own way, and learn some things to help, that we can be better in a lot of things. So thanks so much.
Oh, thank you. I know one of the things that Phyllis shared earlier when we were just wrapping up from working with Cece, Phyllis, she said, why is everyone not doing this with their horses? And
just like we do trim their feet, or a farrier would do something with the feet, with shoes or not, or whatever, or we would have their teeth looked at, or we would feed them. This is so profound. It should be a part of the everyday repertoire, or the livelihood of having horses and husbandry and all of it. It's just totally deserves a spot in their lives. Because if we can keep them healthy and strong, they can do much more for us. They can help us, and we won't have lots of vet bills or whatever. They're healthier, and
they just feel better.
It was just, everybody should have this as part of their routine, I think.
Oh yeah, thank you for saying that, and I agree, because that extra tonicity that gets built up in any vertebrate animal. So I'll look at the camera saying this. Oh, Jennifer, thank you for joining, and I know Jeff was here earlier. Thank you for joining, Jeff. I want to say this because it's so important. The tonicity that gets built up in our bodies, in particular muscle groups, just due to daily activities anything that we do habitually. And the same is true for a horse. Like, for example, when a rider mounts a horse, most people mount from the left traditionally. So every time someone is mounting their horse, your horse is having to counterbalance for our weight coming from that left side. So even that can become a habituation for the horse, and can create particular muscle groups to be holding more contracted on one side just from habitually mounting on the left. I'm not saying anything's wrong with doing that. I just want to point out that just with a few simple lessons, you can really learn some profound things to help your horse keep their body and their brain communicating properly, so that they can go really easily to both directions. And they also, I'm just an advocate for the horse, to be honest. I mean, I really am. That's where my heart is. And so one of the things I want to say for those of you who also have that heart connection with their animals is that we can make a profound difference for them with really simple things. That really it does create bonding between you and your horse too. It's a level. It releases oxytocin, which is the chemical that bonds. So
I mean, Cece was trying to help. She touched his tail, and he was trying to help her. And
he's very smart.
And he was showing signs of release, all of which you can study about. But it was just amazing. And it's not chiropractic.
No.
It's not yoga. Well, would be similar
Well,
to yoga
I
because you've called it yoga.
I called it Yogic Wisdom for Horse and Human
But
for the
it's
fact I want to
different in its own thing.
I want to give the history on this.
Go
It's a
ahead.
great history. It's funny. I just have to just
I know.
do this for a minute. Danny Burke joined, and Danny's a Somatic educator for humans in Louisiana. Thank you for joining,
Hey,
Danny. It's
Danny.
great to have you here. I want to share this. When I first started doing this work, it's been like, I don't know, at least a decade ago that I was traveling and teaching, and if I said, okay, I'm going to hold a retreat and Equine Somatics, and no one knew what that was. And so I had a conversation with Eleanor. I was like, Eleanor, if I call it Yogic Wisdom for Horse and Human, people come. And she said, and so if I told her, she said, don't call it that. No one knows what that is. It was really funny. So just the backstory, the history of that.
Right.
But since I was traveling and teaching this work so much, a lot of people would become fascinated with it and, want to become part of that, and have since studied that work. And so yoga therapy, I was learning therapeutic touch too, and how touching with intention and what that means to the other being's nervous system. And there was no way to teach that out of me. And so it is a true osmosis for sure. From the minute Eleanor met me, she always said, the work that you're developing, she always knew. So there's some osmosis that really can't be undone. The way I always related to horses to start with was very unusual, so it just
Didn't you
made
say
me.
you were born on a
I
horse?
was, yeah. My mom rode until she was 9 months
Oh.
pregnant with me, and then when I was like, I think she said like 2 days old, she had me. She'd set
how
me
funny.
up on the horse, and so
Right.
I grew up in a barn, literally. So just that, relating to them as a kid. And so I think this is something interesting to share is, hey, Stacy, thanks for joining. I think Stacy's dad was in racing. So thank you for joining, Stacy. So I'm just going to be a long Facebook Live. But I just want to share this because I think it's hilarious. It's just that the nature of it's, kids, they don't see animals any different than other people. So developmentally, a child isn't going to see their cat as any different than their parent. They don't place it in a hierarchy. And then developmentally as children, I think by the time usually 7 or 8 or so, maybe 9, somewhere in there, this culture is going to condition them. But the more Aboriginal cultures, they did not. So I know you want to share something. Go ahead.
I know, I'm sorry. I was just thinking, when Gloria worked with me and when we got through, we were talking, and she has worked with people that have had major physical challenges in their lives. And what happens is, through this work, is the body does the work. I mean, it sounds like hooey, but it's not. I mean, it's just amazing. I don't know if you want to share, about that or not, but there are people that could be helped with the knowledge that you have, Gloria. And there's, people in everyday walks of life, people that I know that have major illnesses in their lives. And, it was put there by divine intervention. We were made, to respond like this. It's not,
Right.
it's not
It's just the way the
something that's
nervous
being
system
made up.
works.
It's the way the nervous system works. And I just am very, very happy with what I learned today and participated in and watched. And my horses are over there, just relaxed as they can be. And while she worked with Cece, the other 3 stood there and were participating too. It was really kind of weird. They were doing some of the same things, and I don't know. I guess a herd interacts in mysterious ways, but
yeah, it's a lot of fun to see when the environment is right. The herd members oftentimes will come and be part of that session, and they're feeling, I think they're feeling what their herd mates are feeling, and just enjoying being part of the work. When the environment's conducive to it, it's really beautiful and amazing to see. And that's a lot of people have encouraged me to write books on my animal stories for that reason.
As far as the trimming of the horses, I do trim horses. I trim mine and I trim some other horses, and I've studied it for years only because I had to. And sometimes if you can't find what you need, you become that to take care of what you need to. And I watched Cece, he was dragging his left hind leg a little bit, and the right one went just a little bit. If he was animated and spirited, he would have picked him up real high. But after working with him I mean, the hoof is not doing that. The foot's not doing that. Something happened, and everyone should have it in their toolbox to pull out and take advantage of, to make their animals healthier and their own lives healthier.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
It's really great that we were able to go live with you guys today. Muhammad Ben, I see that you joined. I don't know if you're still living in Flagstaff, but it's nice to have you here. So I hope you're doing well. And I think my passion has been, being with the animals and doing this work, and coming and doing these Facebook Lives, and Phyllis being brave to come on this live today. It's very meaningful for the fact that, we can share our experiences that way and share more about what the work is about. I told Phyllis if there's been one challenge, it's been, how to help people understand this is not massage, it's not manipulating the body in any way. It's really re-education for the horse's sensory system and motor system, and for the person's sensory system and motor system, and having really precise tools that help to bring that about in a way that puts that being's nervous system in a place so that it can self-correct. And it's just a part of the natural way that vertebrate animals are designed to be able to self-correct. And so I'm just grateful to get to share today. And if you guys that are watching, whether you're watching live now or you catch the replay, if you have any comments or questions that you want to share, feel free to leave those. And thank you for taking the time to watch. And if you want to know more about what this is, you can go to gloriahester.com or message here. But Phyllis, I would like to ask this before we end the live, if it's okay with you. What caused you to reach out to me for us to do this work? What was it about CC? What was it? What caused you to reach out?
CC is 33 years old, and I've had him since he was 15. And he has been there and done that for me. Whatever I've asked, he's always had such a big heart. But a year ago, we had he got caught in a creek when I went down for a night check, and he had fallen in the creek and was thrashing around trying to get out. And it was traumatic. We got him out. He was fine. He was cold. We got him warm. We got him eating. We got him all cuddly, and he's been fine. But here it is. It's been a year, and I felt like he needed some work. And I thought, well, who can I call? What can I do? And there's certainly some people that could help. But what drew me to Gloria was reading on her website and about how the brain could cause the body to self-correct itself. Like, I wouldn't even know what he might need. Someone could run through the repertoire of things and still not touch on it. It's a subtle work, and I think that when I read that it could help the body to heal some of these degenerative things, that it just does it innately, it sounded like, whoa, either it's who or it's not. But I knew in my heart I had to have Gloria come. It was worth it to me to have that. And I know it was the right thing to do. I'm very pleased with our session today, and thank you so very much for coming.
Thank you.
And there's a lot of people in the world that this could help, and animals too, because if the body can self-correct itself in little subtle ways to help with some of the things you wouldn't believe. I don't even know if I should say them. But you just go to her website and read. And if you read what I read, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. I had to have Gloria come if she would. And she graciously consented to come, and I'm so glad that you did.
I'm so glad too. I love teaching this work, and it's very special.
Oh, I'm passionate now. I may be telling everybody about this. It's just absolutely amazing. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, it's great. I know that's the one thing about live. You can make it as long or as short as you like, but I just thought it'd be great to share with people in case what they may have going on with their animals. And that's the thing with, if like the kind of fall that Cece had, the fact that he had that fall, and then like you're saying a year later, you're like, oh, I'm not sure about what I'm seeing.
He looked fine, but it was just, it's just, I don't know what it was. Right. Maybe intuition, I'm not sure, but I just felt like he deserved that. Yeah. And we all deserve to go have her hair done and her
Yes.
go to the dentist
Day
and
at
that
the
kind of
spa.
thing when we need to, and the animals appreciate it too.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're here for us longer. And Cece's my friend, and it's kind of neat to have your animals be your friends, but they are, and it makes them special.
Yes, it does.
And
Sweet,
so,
very sweet connection there.
yeah.
So let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we want to do before we wrap up, anything else we want to share with you guys.
Okay.
I would just say I feel really grateful that Phyllis reached out and trusted her intuition, you know, because this is a work that's not as widely known. I know that's changing very, very rapidly, you know, for good reasons, but sometimes people just have injuries that they're not able to heal on their own, and so they may have tried other things, and usually they'll come to somatic education kind of as a last resort because it's just not as commonly understood or as widely known. There aren't as many, you know, out there doing this kind of work.
What's been interesting for me today is to realize and learn that we store stress in different areas of our body, and it makes us bend over and hump over and stand weird, and our back hurts, and this and that and the other, and the animals get the same thing.
Yeah, it's any vertebrate animal. Yeah,
and you can get stress, I guess, from lots of things.
Oh yeah,
that we're in contact with, and it's really made me feel better today and opened my eyes to what this can really do to help people.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got friends that have some really, I guess I already mentioned that, sorry. Have got some serious illnesses or things with their bodies, and I think that there's one in particular I'll call and give him your name, and it can really help people. I know the one you shared with me had trouble walking or something. And it's just amazing that I guess it can help with lots of things.
Yes, it can, and it is, fortunately, it's, you know, it is neuroscience based, so
yes,
I know a lot of people, they'll say when I work with them, she's like, you're scaring me, but they mean it in a good thing, because they're feeling their bodies release a lot of tonicity, and it's like, how is that possible so quickly? But it's because we're working with how the brain and the body communicate, helping the brain and the body communicate more clearly. And also, it's, you know, just from the perspective of the nervous system, just to educate you guys, if you're, you know, if you're catching this, like I said, live or on the replay, is that our nervous system, part of it is like a gas pedal, and another part of it's like the brakes. And so if you're predominantly stuck in one, whether that's the brake or the gas pedal, it's not as functional as it could be. You know, if you're driving your car, sometimes you need to be able to accelerate, sometimes you need to be able to use the brakes, and you need both at a ready access. And so the modalities that I'm working with is pretty extensive tool belt between a lot of disciplines, and so just using what works and what's most effective, and that is what Phyllis was getting to feel in her body, and then see not only to feel it but to see it in his mind. Okay, so we got
I could not believe it.
Yeah, so we did.
And Gloria said, well, you can trust your eyes, and I was sitting here, you know, thinking, you know, looking, and I saw it, and it's pretty neat.
Yeah. So that's a thing, is like, that's one of the things I love about this work too, is it really has given us more neuronal connections and more tools to be able to trust our own knowing, and I think that's so important. You know, that's one of the reasons I've always loved yoga. Yoga is meant to empower people. It's not meant to disempower. And definitely the same is true about somatic education. It's meant to give that individual more autonomy, more self-knowledge, more self-awareness, more self-control, the ability to self-correct. And I just think it's amazing, you know, that just is a win-win to me, that it's given people and animals the ability to self-correct. And yeah, so I'm glad I had to get over my shyness about doing Facebook Lives a long time ago. So now Phyllis is getting over her shyness. And I think what we can do is we can turn the camera around and maybe show your herd a little bit. And just let, if you guys want to see Phyllis's herd grazing.
Will it get it from here?
Yeah. So okay. I'll turn the camera around. Let's see, and we can walk that way if I see where to turn it. I think I can do it here. Sure.
Yep.
Yay!
There
okay,
we
you want to walk
are.
this
okay,
way?
we'll walk.
Yeah, so we're going to take you guys down through the pasture. for you guys who live in the city, we're giving you a little country view here. So you get to enjoy a little almost sunset time. We're heading that way. Yeah, this is cool. Get to hang out with you guys on Facebook.
Cece is the gray horse.
Oh,
Kind
yeah.
of wide over there. Got another gelding here.
Buddy, it's Monty, right?
Yeah.
Monty.
There's Lynn's song. And then Lynn is over here on the right.
Come around this way. So you can see, it's pretty with the sun behind us. It's like a silhouette, but you get to see. You guys might want to come meet. This is Luna.
Yeah.
Here. And then Cece's over here at the fence. Hey, buddy. He's like, are we doing a live?
What am I doing now?
I think this is Cece's first live, right?
Yes.
This is your first live, right?
Yeah.
Pretty little ears. Here he comes.
Hey, Cece.
Hey, buddy. Hey, coming to say hi? He's enjoying his hay. Yeah, so he's still a little grazing. Alright, so this is Cece. Come around this way. Say hi.
Yeah.
Sweet, yeah. So I've got you guys in the shot together now. So, yeah. So I'll just get ready to sign off here, but I just want to say thank you, Phyllis, for doing the Facebook Live, and thank you, Cece, for being such a great client today and a great student. He's gonna go say hi. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, great to see you. Mwah. Okay.
Oh, he's going to give you a big kiss.
He is. You can take it. Okay, we're back. All right, so I think we're ready to sign off now. Turn it back around. Cece's gonna come over. He really wants to be in the shot. So, oh, do you want me to? Okay. So that's us together. Yeah, you can see us. Yeah. Are we still live?
Cece. Yes, you are. You are.
Yeah. So it was great to be on this live with you guys today. Cece's going to take off, so so thank you for watching, whether you're watching live or on the replay. Again, I'm Gloria Hester. I'm the founder of Yogic Wisdom for Horse and Human. I'm probably going to be holding a workshop in a month or so, somewhere in there in the next few months. So if you want to know about those invites to that, you can private message me, and I'll get you on the list. Okay, so where you're going to be learning lots of cool things for yourself and for your animals that you love. And I think that's it. So, okay.
Good.
Thank you guys for joining. I'll see you all soon. So, yep. So then we'll end with the sunset.